A jam-packed week here in Tampa comes to a close. I'm Atlanta News First Sports Director Bailey Burmaster, and this is your Media Days Craze. We are here to wrap up an incredible week with everything concerning the 2026 SEC Media Days that were held in Florida. We heard from the coaches and players across the conference laying out their expectations for the fall. From the transfer portal to expanded playoff hopes to how programs are adapting to NIL, it's clear the landscape of college football is still changing. The one thing that hasn't changed is the idea that the SEC remains the toughest conference in the country. But in the midst of a national title drought, someone has to step up. Right now, we're looking at the best moments from the week as players, coaches, and fans turn their attention to kickoff in the fall. First up to the podium, the Georgia Bulldogs. Kirby Smart heads into 2026 with vengeance on his mind. This is a team that fell short in the quarterfinal the last 2 years. However, they bring a more seasoned group, a more confident Gunnar Stockton, and they're ready to prove they're one of the top dogs, having won back-to-back SEC championships. For a second straight year, the Bulldogs received a first-round bye in the college football playoff. And for the second straight year, they came up short. Quarterback Gunnar Stockton's confidence grew over the course of the season as first year as full starter. While the Dogs' defense lost 8 to the NFL, it's a far cry from the 14 they replaced the year before. Kirby Smart attacks the portal, and you can expect its defense to again attack the SEC after allowing less than 18 points per game in 2025. If it's possible for the Georgia Bulldogs to be under the radar this year, they are. Time will tell whether this is an elite UGA team or merely a very good one. But the Dogs have a great shot at getting back to their 8th straight SEC championship game. I had the opportunity to catch up with not only head coach Kirby Smart, but also QB1 Gunnar Stockton. What's something about coaching in 2026 that would surprise Kirby Smart, who started when he first got to Georgia?
The turnover of the roster. I mean, when I got started, you had this long ramp up of development for a kid from his freshman year to his 4th or 5th year, and so much of your team was a senior class, and senior classes don't really exist anymore because they're either off to the draft or off to the portal by the time they're seniors. So that would shock me.
Sankey talked ad nauseum yesterday about the Protect College Sports Act, expanded playoff. With how much this evolves every year, where do you stand on just where those things end up playing out and what you think is best for your athletes at the end of the day?
Again, I think the landscape of college football is such talking and all these things that are going on when we really focus on us. Now, would I love an expanded playoff? Yes, I want more opportunities for more teams. I want more people to have a chance at the light at the end of the rainbow. That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants an opportunity to play, and I think Eli hit on that from Missouri the other day, is give more teams that opportunity to play and keep a rhythm in the season where we play continuously and take some of the long breaks out. That would be my choice.
Gunnar Stockton told us that you do such a great job of motivating this group and that you watch a lot of film, you study a lot of things. He brought up the Oklahoma City Thunder as a point of emphasis. What is it about the Thunder that you feel like is the motivation tactic for this team and their identity this year? They're
uncommon. They have many uncommon ways in terms of sharing the ball. Mudita, we call it, in finding joy in the success of others. I think if you emphasize that and you celebrate the guy more who celebrates the guys, that kind of gets contagious.
Gunnar, what is the biggest difference between the quarterback that came into SEC Media Days last year and the one that shows up today?
I would say last year I had no idea what to expect. It was a little, just go with it, and I'm excited. I'm here with Drew Bobo and Raylan Wilson, so it's an awesome day and really excited for it.
For you, what was the biggest point of emphasis that you were able to learn from last season that you just feel like you've grown a lot as a player?
Yeah, I think the the experience of going on the road and playing, and also the emotions that everything goes with the game of football. It's easy to if you're not playing, to say, hey, yeah, I can do this, but having to deal with the emotions and the schedules of an away game, home game, night game. Just having to deal with all that, and at the end of the day, going out there and playing, it definitely has helped me a lot and going into this second year.
How much has falling short in the playoffs the last 2 years, will that be a point of fuel for you guys going into 2026?
It definitely is, but I think at the end of the day, We've won 2 SEC championships and definitely wasn't where we wanted to be, but I think this team, I'm really excited of what we can be.
The road back to the playoffs starts with a favorable path for the Bulldogs. But the big tests are still there. Georgia hosts Oklahoma early, travels to Alabama, and later faces Ole Miss, the team that ended its playoff run a year ago. Then the Dogs close the season out against Georgia Tech, which also packs a punch. Lane Kiffin has officially arrived in Death Valley, and the expectations are high to see if he can turn this talent into a championship contender. 2025 was a disappointment for the Tigers. LSU finished 7-6, including just 3 SEC wins, ending Brian Kelly's tenure in Baton Rouge. Now enter the Kiffin era. The new LSU head coach wasted no time putting his stamp on the program, reuniting with former Tigers national championship coach Ed Orgeron and once again making his mark in the transfer portal. But the game everyone has circled comes September 19th, when Kiffin returns to Oxford to face the Rebels program he left behind. With a reloaded roster and a national title expectation, the question is whether Kiffin can deliver LSU's next championship. Let's tap in with Baton Rouge.
SEC Football Media Days coming to a close here in Tampa. Jacques Doucet along with John Eads. We've been counting down to the LSU Tigers all week, and today they finally stepped to the podium.
Big ticket item, I'd say, of the final day. I know Texas was speaking as well, but a lot of people were curious and interested to see what LSU head coach Lane Kiffin and the players had to say, because they've been really the hoopla and the subject of a lot of headlines all offseason, culminating into these media days in Tampa Bay. Now that this is done, we look forward to football season.
It's a big money year for LSU. The Tigers have invested millions into their coaching staff, into the players. Here's what the head coach Lane Kiffin and a few of his guys had to say today.
No, it's been a great 7 months, and not really knowing much about Baton Rouge and Louisiana that much. I just knew about the football program and had been to the stadium on the other side of things. It's been awesome the way they've embraced my family, to have my son on campus right there at U-High. The state's been awesome. It's really full of really hardworking, passionate people that love football. We've rebuilt teams and offenses specifically where receivers came from all over and quarterbacks, and then we had to put them together. Just last year, I think there was only 4 returning starters on the team last year that went to the Final Four. So we have a lot of experience with that, and still presents a lot of challenges.
More motivated than ever. I understand that in my first 3 years here, we didn't win a lot of ball games. I know that, and I take that personally. So I know that every morning when I wake up, there is a goal, and I want to right the wrong, and I don't want to leave that legacy at LSU of a rough 3 years. So I have one last chance to right that ship.
It means everything. By me growing up in Jackson, Louisiana, probably a population of about 2,500, 3,000 people, it's everybody's dream, every kid's dream in Louisiana to go play for those 3 letters and 2 colors. It means so much to me that my university, and it's a blessing that I've been able to represent those people, and you just feel it when you're there. It's unexplainable. I really can't tell you in words about how amazing that place is and how it just feels like home. Like from the time that I stepped on Victory Hill and I walked down the hill, it's just chills just going through my body.
By coming here today and them choosing you to come, do you feel like that they are kind of putting you out front as a leader and a guy that they're looking to this year to win football games?
Yes, sir, for sure. I think it just speaks to who I am as a person and how I carry myself, for sure. And I'm blessed for this opportunity and very thankful.
From SEC Media Days in Tampa, I'm Jacques Doucet along with John Eads. Back to you.
There will be no easing into the Kiffin era. LSU opens SEC play at Ole Miss in one of the most anticipated games of the season. Then comes a November gauntlet with Alabama, Texas, and Tennessee. If the Tigers want to be in the national title conversation, they'll have to earn it. After a year of change on the Plains, Auburn is turning the page. New head coach, new faces, and a new chance to change the direction of the program. Now the question is, how quickly can the Tigers make their move in the SEC? Welcome back into your media Days Craze. Auburn is starting over. The Tigers are a team that have struggled to stay relevant in the last couple of years. Now, they are one of the 6 teams with a new head coach. Alex Golesh is posed with the hardest thing of all, turning the Tigers around. The Tigers have gone through 3 head coaches since they won the national title in 2013, and the 4th is now Golesh from the University of South Florida. Golesh brings 60 new players to the Plains, 13 from his USF program, including quarterback Byram Brown. Brown owns 15 USF records and produced the Bulls' first ever 3,000-yard passing season. But whether or not he and a new look offense are ready for the SEC remains to be seen. One thing that has not changed at Auburn, DJ Durkin, who Golesh kept as defensive coordinator after taking over as interim head coach last season following the firing of Hugh Freeze. Durkin's knowledge and retained players should be invaluable for the first-year head coach. So Golesh has a great shot at getting the Tigers to their first winning season since 2020. Let's tap in with our friends covering the Tigers.
Auburn's got a new head coach, and that's something that we're getting used to saying this time of the year. Alex Golesh becomes the program's 3rd leader in the last 5 seasons. The Tigers haven't had a winning record since 2020. Golesh is hoping he can be the guy to steer that ship in the right direction. And even though his players may be new to Auburn, they aren't new to him. He brought a number of USF transfers with him, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
It's one thing to have high-end young players, but football is a game where the physical maturity, as well as obviously just the experience in game, and in a league like this, I mean, over I want to say 87% of games are 1-score games. Like the talent level across the board at the top is relatively even. These situations that end up winning football games, experience is king.
The most important piece of that puzzle will be quarterback Byram Brown, a guy that's played in 35 career games already over 4 seasons at South Florida. Last year, he had 42 combined touchdowns. We had the chance to speak one-on-one with the Tigers' new signal caller today, who seems very confident in his abilities.
Guys are ready to work. Guys are willing to work each and every day, put the one foot in front of the other, focus on the now, not looking too far ahead. So we're just building us up from inside out, and that's all we're worried about.
You had a tremendous year last year at USF, led the country in touchdowns in the regular season. How confident are you that can translate to the SEC going up against some of the top defenses in the country?
I'm confident in my ability, confident in my teammates, most importantly, because without them, none of that would happen. So I can't wait to build that rapport. We're building it up, build it in spring, winter, summer now, and just bonding off the field, because that's really what's going to help on the field. And man, I can't wait. Our people at Auburn can't wait. I'm just itching for the first game, to be honest. That's really it.
What is Coach Golesh like for the fan base?
Coach Golesh is exactly how you see him in interviews. Same guy. He's not going to ask you to do anything that he wouldn't do himself. Tremendous leader of men, cares for his players deeply, and just wants the absolute best, and is going to demand the absolute best from you. So I can't think of a better coach to play for.
And even though the SEC is a step up from the American Conference, Golesh echoes his quarterback's confidence of being able to not just compete, but succeed in the SEC.
That's been the biggest challenge. I think we're as talented as we need to be. Now it's just a matter of how close can they get, how much can they learn to play for each other. And I think the closer we get, the more you'll see it in the fall.
Auburn will open its season with the Power 4 test against the Baylor Bears on September 5th in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Covering the Tigers, I'm Davis Baker for WSFA 12 Sports.
Auburn goes back-to-back against Tennessee and Georgia this year, then returns home to host LSU before heading back on the road to face Ole Miss. And the season ends with the Iron Bowl at Alabama, a stretch that will show just how quickly the new head coach can move this program forward. 11 wins in a season would usually mean success for a lot of programs, but not for Alabama. It raises a few questions. They head into year 3 under Kalen DeBoer, and they'll be pushing to get higher success this upcoming season. 2025 was a weird year for Alabama. The Tide finished 11-4, but ended poorly with a blowout loss to Indiana in the Rose Bowl, the team that won it all, which really makes year 3 a make-or-break season for DeBoer. And if he's able to show that Nick Saban standard is still alive, he's going to have to do it with a new quarterback. Austin Mack and Kalen Russell will compete for the starting job following the departure of Ty Simpson. But questions lure around the offensive line. That's a group that struggled in the second half of 2025. The jury's still out on whether or not the Tide will be able to dominate in the trenches. Let's get the latest on the Tide.
It is now year 3 for Kalen DeBoer as the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Tide making it to the college football playoff last year, winning a road game at Oklahoma before losing to eventual national champion Indiana in the Rose Bowl. Now that season was good enough to earn DeBoer a contract extension through the 2033 season. Now even with that extension, DeBoer seems to understand that just making it to the quarterfinal isn't the standard in Tuscaloosa.
There's an expectation that is different at Alabama, and we signed up for that. We're all about that, and we want to continue to push to make sure that we reach the expectations that we have, first of all, internally, and I think that will help everyone else that is the diehards and our fan base appreciate what these guys are doing, the work they're putting in.
Alabama appears to be flying under the radar entering the new season. A big reason why is the question mark at quarterback. It's a true competition to replace Ty Simpson between veteran Austin Mack, who came to Alabama with DeBoer from Washington, and the highly thought of sophomore Kalen Russell.
Two guys that we have a lot of confidence in. They both have a lot of similarities. I think probably when you look at their effectiveness as a passer, I think things that they don't have are just the number of reps in game experiences, and so there's a lot of things that are similar about them.
Two amazing guys on and off the field, and you know they do have different skill sets. They provide different strengths to the offense. You know, Mac he's not going to make a wrong decision, and Keelan's lightning in a bottle, so he really can't go wrong. And I love being around those guys, and I'm thankful to call those guys my teammates.
Either quarterback will hope to rely on Ryan Coleman Williams as a top target. The junior wide receiver faced some adversity last season after a massive freshman year. He has a new number this season, a new last name, and has been working hard to make this his best season yet.
Honestly, just going into this year, my main focus is, just trying to be a consistent guy day in and day out. And with the work that I put in, obviously the results will show for themselves. So really just being the best version of myself day in and day out for my squad.
Him being able to stay strong, continue to focus on what he needs to improve on, but what he can control is just so impressive. He's put on some weight, and I think that's helped, in a lot of different ways. I think helps with your confidence, helps with your ability to move, your ability to, I think it's going to help with his ability out there in the field from a physicality standpoint too.
Alabama's season begins Labor Day weekend with a home game against East Carolina. Reporting from SEC Media Days, I'm Jonathan Hoppy with WBRC.
The road back to the top won't be easy for Bama. The month of October features a brutal 4-game stretch. Georgia at home, at Tennessee, Texas A&M in Tuscaloosa, and LSU on the road. If the Crimson Tide can navigate that gauntlet, they'll be in the thick of the college football playoff race. Ahead on Media Days Craze, from one new head coach to the next. The situations couldn't be more different, though, between these two. Pete Golding takes over a playoff contender at Ole Miss, looking to keep the Rebels amongst the SEC's best. Welcome back into your Media Days Craze. I'm Bailey Burmaster. Ole Miss is another team that has a new head coach, but it is a familiar face. Pete Golding stepped in with the departure of Lane Kiffin to LSU during their playoff run in 2025. However, the expectations in Oxford have not changed. While this is technically Golding's first year as head coach, it doesn't really feel like it after he took over for Lane Kiffin and led Ole Miss to an upset win over Georgia in the college football playoff. He had this team believing if it's possible for expectations to be high with a new head coach, I guess it's possible in Oxford. Quarterback Trinidad Chambliss was granted an exemption and returns, along with lead back Kewan Lacey Jr. While Golding served as DC from 2023 to 2025, he promoted Brian Brown to that role. And then there's one of the most anticipated games of the season for this team, September 19th versus LSU and their former head coach Lane Kiffin. Don't be fooled. The Rebs will be a contender for the SEC crown this season. Let's get the latest on the Reds.
The Ole Miss Rebels are coming off their best season in school history. 13 wins, a college football playoff semifinal, and a run that captivated the entire SEC and college football world. Now, Pete Golding, who took over at the end of last season and won back-to-back playoff games in his first 2 games as a head coach, is trying to prove it wasn't a fluke. And today in Tampa, he made his case.
I think every team is responsible for their own legacy. And to me, and our guys will be the first one to tell you, like in recruiting, if you're not tough and you're not competitive and you don't love football, like Ole Miss ain't for you. We're going to get after you every day. There's going to be an expectation to be at your best every day. And so that's what I kind of love about this group. Like, they want to get coached hard.
For the new-look Rebels in 2026, you have to start with the core that is back, which includes that dynamic duo in the backfield in quarterback Trinidad Chambliss and running back Kewan Lacey, who combined for 54 touchdowns last season.
We're not putting expectations based on a win column or a championship or like that. To me, that's a mentality of, how you go about your business and what you're expecting them to do on a daily basis and what they have to put in order to get out what they want.
To a storyline that stole the headlines this offseason, Chambliss' return, which was not guaranteed. The NCAA denied his 6-year waiver back in January, and it took a state court ruling, one that found the NCAA had acted in bad faith, plus a denied NCAA appeal in March before he was finally cleared to play. He returns off of a season with nearly 4,000 total yards and 30 total touchdowns, good for 8th in Heisman voting.
I feel like, whatever the case or whatever the decision was going to be, God willing, I was going to play football regardless, whether it was in the NFL or, in college back at Ole Miss. And I guess the lowest point in the times where I was down the most is just the uncertainty of it. Didn't know where I was going to be. I just wanted to kind of know where I was going to go and where I was going to be so I can, I guess put my best foot forward and most of my effort into that time.
Golding's also leaning on one of the top transfer classes in the country, which ranked number 2 nationally, to reload a roster that lost some key pieces to the portal. That includes several who followed Lane Kiffin to LSU, and that's a storyline hanging over everything here in Tampa. September 19th, when Kiffin brings LSU to Oxford for the SEC opener, his first game back in the building since he left the Rebels before last year's playoff run, and Golding didn't shy away from it when asked.
There's always going to be history. It's the ex, right? I mean, there's always going to be the history. Like, do you have an ex? Are you married? Okay. All right. Well, if you do get married, right, and you have an ex that your wife knows about, like, she doesn't ever end. She's never dead, right? Like, she's always going to get brought up. And so that's kind of it's where it is right now, right? That's always going to be there a little bit, which is fun to a certain degree. But, the thing about this league, as y'all know, like, your focus better be on LSU. It better be on LSU week 3. Right? And if your focus isn't on a Kentucky at home and you lose the game and go to the playoffs, your focus isn't on a Florida on the road, right? When you're number 5 in the country and you lose it to the playoffs, like, you got to put your focus week in and week out in this league, which is what I love about this league. But LSU will get our undivided attention in week 3, and they'll deserve every bit of it.
For the Rebels, the bar has shifted. It's no longer about surprising anyone. It's about proving last year was not a one-time thing and finishing the job in 2026. Reporting in Tampa, I'm Nathan Lee, WLBT Sports.
Ole Miss has a schedule built for a contender. The Rebels get LSU at home to start SEC play, travel to Texas, and finish with November test against Georgia and Oklahoma. Plenty of opportunities for Golding to prove this program is still among the SEC's best. Stick with us. We're going to keep recapping an incredible week from Tampa for your 2026 SEC Media Days. You won't want to miss a minute of the action. A&M found a breakthrough season last year in 2025, but now the hard part comes. They must keep it going. So close but so far was the theme for the Aggies in 2025. A win over Texas would have put them in the SEC title game, and then blew a halftime lead at home in the playoff and lost to Miami. Still, the breakthrough season for the Aggies was very relevant, winning 11 regular season games for the first time since 1994. Fast forward to this year, and Mario Craver Jr. is the name to watch. He should be the top option for QB Marcel Reed. The schedule is tougher with road trips to LSU, Bama, and Oklahoma. However, Elko gets the most out of his teams, and A&M should be a playoff contender again if all falls into place. Let's visit with College Station.
Texas A&M is coming off a historic 11-2 season, their first 11-win season since 1992. But one of the big storylines here at SEC Media Days is who exactly Mike Elko brought to Media Days. They brought quarterback Marcel Reed, which seems normal, but it's the first time Texas A&M has brought a quarterback to Media Days in the summer since 2019 with Kellen Mond.
It means a lot. Whenever your coach picks you to do something to represent the team and yourself, I think it's really important. And I'm also, representing my family, my faith. Without God, I wouldn't be here at all. So, just happy to be in this position for sure.
He's established himself not only as our quarterback, but as the leader of our program, and received more votes for captain this year than anybody else on our roster. And so I think he's earned the right to be here.
I think I'm one of the top SEC quarterbacks. And I think I'm one of the top quarterbacks in the country as well.
I like a quarterback that has confidence. He's been really good taking control of the offense this year. This spring has been really good. But I like a quarterback that got confidence. Bringing that to the season is going to help me too.
They also brought captain linebacker Damian Sanford, who his playing status is still up in the air. Mike Elko would not give a timetable on his return after Sanford was injured and exited the spring game early.
The first thing I thought was, am I going to be out for the season?
When do you, anticipate being able to play again?
Soon. I just, keep working every day. I'm going to be back soon, though.
How excited are you to eventually get back out there and get this thing rolling again?
I'm really excited. A lot of our teammates they're hungry. We got a chip on our shoulder. We got a lot to prove. So yeah, I'm excited.
You kind of are now the voice of that linebacker room and really the voice of this defense. How much did you learn from Torian York last year? And then I know you kind of have your own style, but what is it like stepping into that role?
I learned a lot from him, actually. We came in together, so just watching him, how he leads and how he approaches the game, it was fun, learning from him. His preparation in the game is unmatched. He prepares like no other. He leads like no other, and he was kind of the standard. But he was the standard of Texas A&M. So trying to follow his footsteps would be good.
And you guys got a taste of the playoff last year. So what does that take to get to that level?
I'll say consistency and turnover margin. I'm gonna talk about that today a lot. Just winning the turnover. That's our number one plan to win, turnovers. So winning the turnover margin and being consistent throughout the year, I feel like we'll have good chance.
The Aggies are looking to double down on their success from last year, this year with a 9-game SEC conference schedule. And it all starts September 5th against Missouri State. Reporting from SEC Media Days, Tyler Shaw.
The Aggies aren't hiding from the challenge. Texas A&M gets Arizona State early, travels to LSU, and closes with a stretch that includes road tests at Alabama, South Carolina, and Oklahoma. Then comes the Lone Stars showdown, a chance for the Aggies to redeem themselves after last year's loss against Texas. A new era is underway in Gainesville, and the question on everyone's mind is, can John Summerall take over and make Florida a factor once again in the SEC? It's a new coach, new quarterback, and new era. Gone is Billy Napier, Eder Summerall, who took Tulane to the playoff in just 2 years, and will now try to do the same in the SEC. With DJ Lagway's departure, it's also an open competition at quarterback. However, Aaron Philo seems to have a leg up following his offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner, from Georgia Tech. Florida has the chance to be one of the most improved teams in the country, but again holds one of the toughest schedules, having to face Ole Miss, Oklahoma, plus Texas on the road, and Georgia this year, and Atlanta, which could be a de facto home game for the Dogs. Let's tap in with Gainesville.
It's no question something needed to change for the Gator defense that came in ranked third worst in the SEC last season, giving up over 376 yards a game. But enter new defensive coordinator Brad White that John Summerall calls one of the best defensive minds in the game. White joining the Gators from Kentucky, where his defense ranked third nationally in fourth down defense and 20th in run defense. Losing guys like Caleb Banks, George Gumbs Jr., and Tyreek Sapp to the NFL draft, but the key stayed for the DC with a linebacker coaching background, a room led by one of the game's best in Miles Graham. Brad White, new incoming defensive coordinator, what has your impressions been so far?
Yeah, I love Coach White and the energy he brings every single day. Just him just doing everything he can to make sure we're the best defense that we can be. Honestly, he's very big on violence, aggression, physicality, and running to the ball and effort. So we're excited to show that.
What are you most excited to showcase with this new defensive scheme this season?
I just think I'm really just, other than the scheme, really the players, the great players that I have right to the right of me, behind me, in front of me. We got depth, and we're very talented.
Gators fans can look forward to a very adaptable 3-4 defense under White. 4 linebacker type looks with a jackbacker essentially used as a defensive end, a role that returner Jaden Woods is more than prepared for.
Don't get it twisted, the Gators will be tested quickly, with Ole Miss coming to Gainesville in September. Florida faces a tough finish with road trips to Texas and Florida State, plus a home game versus Oklahoma, a schedule that will reveal just how quickly Summerall can revive the Gators. Tennessee seems like a team that has always been on the verge of a breakthrough for many years. Coach Josh Heupel has made a lot of progress on Rocky Top, but he's still looking for that complete season with the right players. It's not a full restart in 2026, but it's certainly a reset. The Vols' 8-5 record in 2025 was their worst finish under Heupel since his first season in 2021. And that means the pressure is on. There are a lot of eyes on the defense looking for big improvement. As a result, here comes Jim Knowles with successful runs at Oklahoma State, Ohio State, and most recently Penn State. Knowles remains one of the biggest offseason hires in the SEC. They say defense wins championships, but so do quarterbacks, and Tennessee has to find one.
The Tennessee Volunteers will enter 2026 looking a whole lot different, and it all starts under center. With Joey Aguilar being denied another year of eligibility, it opens the door for a new QB1. But who will that be? Well, that's the question. Redshirt freshman George McIntyre and true freshman Fajon Brandon have been in a close competition. Now, both inexperienced, but will have some much-needed help around them. 5 of their 6 offensive linemen, plus SEC Freshman of the Year Braylon Staley, are returning, in addition to running back Deshaun Bishop, who rushed for over 1,000 yards last season.
Honestly, I got a good relationship with both of them, with all of them, honestly. I believe they're all competing at their very best, just trying to make it, earn that starting role, So I'm doing my best to make sure I'm pouring into them because being a vet guy, I've learned a lot and I experienced. I've played in this game and I know what it's like to earn that spot. And just trying to be the best, help them be the best version of themselves every day.
Extremely beneficial that you have experience inside of our scheme with the guys up front. You look at the amount of returning guys that we have, wide receivers, productivity at running back, our tight ends. When you have a young quarterback, he's got to go learn how to play the game at a championship level, learn how to not get you beat. But a lot of it is the 10 other guys around him playing the game at a really high level. And, not just offensively, but your defense and special teams got to all be tied in as that quarterback continues to grow throughout the course of the year.
Head coach Josh Heupel's offense a year ago was one of the best units in the SEC. They ranked first in scoring. It was defensively where they struggled the most, and that's why Heupel brought in defensive coordinator Jim Knowles. He'll lead a very experienced linebacker room as the defense looks to right their wrongs from a year ago.
Just having a new guy like Coach Knowles coming in with a different scheme and a different way of teaching and teaching patterns that you might say in a sense has been able to help me grasp the concepts of conceptually understanding football in a different light and ultimately getting me better and ready for the next level in a sense because we do a lot of pro-style defensive schemes and things of that nature. So it's been great.
AC and I have been waiting for this. I mean, it's our senior year, and Amari coming in as well, it being his 4th year. Us 3 are really just grabbing the bull by its dang horns, and we're so excited. We got 2 younger quarterbacks, and there's no time to be young. But as a veteran defense and veteran linebackers, we feel that we're able to help them out a lot and kind of inspire them and give them the green light to just take off.
The overall arching message, 2025 was just not up to standard. It was the fewest wins under Heupel since his inaugural season, and 2026 won't be much easier with a 9-conference game schedule. It all starts as Tennessee hosts Furman in Knoxville on September 5th, and Josh Heupel looking to name a QB1 before then. Reporting from SEC Media Days, I'm Junior Cooper, WSMV4.
An interesting early season test for Tennessee against Georgia Tech, but there are plenty of big games in Knoxville this fall. Texas will visit Rocky Top for the Battle of Orange. Tennessee also hosts Auburn, Alabama, and LSU. The road games look manageable, except maybe that trip to Kyle Field on November 14th. You might notice there is no Georgia on the schedule this season. They say everything is bigger in Texas, and that's certainly true with expectations. Arch Manning returns for the Longhorns, and the pressure seemed a bit much last year. But what is in store for the Longhorns in 2026? That's coming up next. Year after year, Texas takes the next step. Now with Arch Manning returning, they're chasing the next one. Texas has continued to climb under Steve Sarkisian, but now the expectations have changed. Longhorns finished 10-3 in their first SEC season, including a Citrus Bowl win over Michigan. This year, 5 preseason All-Americans return with championship expectations in Austin. The biggest question, how much more can Manning grow in year 2 as the starting quarterback? Sarkisian also made changes on both sides of the ball, bringing in new coordinators to help take this team to the next level. The Longhorns have taken another step every year. Now they're looking to make that final one. Let's link up with our Longhorns affiliates.
Well, the Texas Longhorns are the final team to go here at SEC Media Days. They've made quite the entrance into the SEC, entering now year 3 of the conference. It's been a success for Steve Sarkisian and his Longhorns. Year 1 in the SEC was their second straight trip to the college football playoff. Last year was their third straight double-digit win season, but at 10-3 and missing the college football playoff and the SEC title game, a little bit of a down year compared to their recent standard. Now, Steve Sarkisian has been vocal this offseason, pretty loud, calling college football a lawless society. Arch Manning, another big talking point here at SEC Media Days. This time last year, he was entering year 1 as a full-time starter, and he was the most talked to, the most popular player here at SEC Media Days.
My goal this offseason was just to stay present, take it one day at a time. I'm not really worried about the outside world, and that's what I'm going to continue to try to do. It's a totally different group. We're definitely all Probably a year better, but I don't know. It's not really for me to rate. I think that's y'all's job. So I'll let y'all decide that once we start playing.
I believe this. If you want to be a disciplined team on the field, you need to be a disciplined team off the field. Okay, it starts off the field, and then it carries itself to on the field. And so we've restructured some things off the field discipline-wise, and Coach Beckton's very creative down there in the weight room with some of that discipline. But the one thing I think that we're doing that is resonating with the guys is the players taking accountability of that. And so when a player jumps off sides, for example, that whole position group kind of serving that punishment with him. Because that's what happens in a game.
Yeah, we have a great relationship. I think he has a good relationship with our whole team, and we all trust him, and we're excited to play for him. He gets us to play hard for him, and I'm excited for year 2 with him.
Us playing at Georgia last year would have been the same as us playing Georgia at home. Like how difficult it might be to go play at another place. And I understand that's arbitrary. You know, how tough is DKR, how tough is Death Valley, or how tough is Neyland, or how tough is Kyle Field? That's up for debate, right? But some of that seems like it's a little bit of common sense.
At what point in last season did it become fun for you?
I think when we started winning.
Well, the expectations are high in Austin as Arch Manning enters year 2 as a full-time starter for the Longhorns. And they got a lot of games to look forward to on their schedule. It all kicks off September 5th, hosting Texas State, and then week 2 back at DKR, hosting Ohio State. And of course, the way that the regular season ends, the Lone Star Showdown, well, they'll travel to College Station to take on the Texas A&M Aggies. Reporting here in Tampa, Tyler Shaw.
The Longhorns won't have much time to settle in. Texas gets a chance at redemption early, with Ohio State coming to Austin after ending their season last year. Then comes the SEC grind, a road test at Tennessee, the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma, and a tough October with Ole Miss and LSU, before closing the year with the Lone Star Showdown against Texas A&M. A schedule filled with opportunities for Texas to prove it belongs among college football's elite. Some of the newest blood in the conference is still proving its worth. Oklahoma looked a lot more like Oklahoma in 2025, but they're still trying to prove that they deserve to be in the top tier of the SEC. 2025 was a breakthrough year. The Sooners went 10-3 and reached the college football playoff. But can they back it up with another appearance in 2026? Quarterback John Mateer will look to recreate his early season success from last year. And we'll see if former Dallas Cowboys star Jason Witten can make a difference as the new tight ends coach. The one thing that's a guarantee, the Sooners will be tested through their schedule.
The Oklahoma Sooners taken to the podium on Monday at SEC Media Day. This program is looking to go into the 2026 season by building off of what was a strong 2025 campaign.
This is a very energetic, and there's a buzz in the air. There's an excitement across the country.
To say that Oklahoma Sooners head coach Brent Venables is pumped up for the 2026 season to start might be an understatement. And there's good reason for him to be excited with the foundation this team started to lay in 2025. The Sooners going 10-3 overall and 6-2 in conference play, finishing the year in 6th place in the SEC, but they were able to earn a berth in last year's college football playoff. It was Oklahoma's first appearance in the playoff since the 2019 season, and this is something that Venables says is a good building block for the program, but they still have things to improve upon, most notably the ground game.
Make no mistake, we've got a lot of improvement to do there, offensively speaking. In being able to run the football, we got to run it a heck of a lot better than what we did a year ago.
One of those returning players is quarterback John Mateer. He's entering his second year with the Sooners after transferring over from Washington State University after the 2024 season. In 2025, Mateer threw for nearly 2,900 yards, had 14 passing touchdowns, but also 11 interceptions. And one of the things he says he must be better at in the upcoming season is completing the football.
The biggest one has been the completion percentage. You know, moving the ball forward, staying ahead of the chains, That's one of them. It's the accuracy, the timing, decision-making. That's how that happens.
And one group on the team that has a lot of new faces is the tight ends room. But the additions in that room don't just stop with the players. One of the all-time great tight ends in SEC and NFL history, Jason Witten, was brought in as the team's tight ends coach during the offseason. Mateer says although this is not his position, he's enjoyed being able to be around Witten and soak up all of the knowledge that he has to offer.
There's a lot of guys in this world, and I was just at the Manning Passing Academy, so I mean, I put him on that level. Definitely, you just hang around, guys like that, and there's just gold. They're just giving you gold all the time.
And then, of course, there's the defensive side of the football, the place where Venables made his name for years before becoming the lead man at the helm at Oklahoma. One of his top guys for 2026 is defensive lineman Taylor Wine. He's coming off of a season where he recorded a team-leading 7 sacks. He says he's looking forward to taking a bigger step as a leader for this team this year, on and off the field.
It's something that I feel like I've naturally kind of gotten acclimated to, and I feel like I've embraced it, and it's really helped me as a player overall.
As for the team as a whole, Venables says they're focusing on controlling the things that they can control and not paying attention to the outside noise, whether good or bad.
At the end of the day, this is a game of performance. This is a game that's about the work, and this is a game where it's decided on the field.
The Sooners open up their 2026 season on Friday, September 4th, when they will host UTEP, and then they will begin conference play just a few weeks later on September 26th in Athens against Georgia. Reporting from SEC Media Days, I'm Xavier McKnight with WWSB.
There's no shortage of key games on Oklahoma's schedule. The Sooners will play Michigan and Georgia before the annual grudge match with Texas. The end of the season is tough too, with games against Ole Miss and Texas A&M in November. Stick with us. We're going to keep recapping an incredible week from Tampa for your 2026 SEC Media Days. You won't want to miss a minute of the action.
The league that used to own January is in a drought. 13 national titles in 17 seasons from 2006 to the end of the 2022 season. And since then, nothing, nada. Now with the 12-team playoff, the SEC path doesn't look automatic anymore. The conference becoming more likely to bunch up, be beaten up, and watch teams top out in the quarterfinals. Their track record, not great. Only 2 SEC teams have advanced to the Final Four in the 12-team format. But the fact is, the SEC is starving for a title. Take a look at these next couple of teams, the ones we've been talking about the last few years. Georgia, Texas, Do not sleep on Texas A&M. And if Lane Kiffin plays it all right, even LSU can make a reservation in Vegas.
The Dogs are the favorite to win every week, the favorite to win the league. And according to the Power Index, they've got the most forgiving schedule in the conference. If the early math holds, they can dodge some of the other top 10 heavyweights. But it's still a grind with a potential 6 top 25 games packed into an 8-game stretch. Georgia's edge may just be that defense. They're older, better, wiser. Last year, they held teams to 14 or fewer 8 times, even when rotating young talent. If Georgia is the favorite, Texas may have the highest ceiling. On paper, they check every box: an elite roster, a quarterback who finished with one of the best ratings in the country, and expectations for a top 10 offense. And with Kirby Smart's longtime advisor now in the mix on defense, can Will Muschamp help push them through to January? Texas is built to make the field, but that margin thinner than people think. Behind Ohio State, they have the second toughest schedule. Across the Lone Star State, A&M has been knocking on the door of the SEC's elite. The Aggies are top 15 in returning production, and Marcel Reed put up numbers few could match in the SEC. The question is protection. If they can mesh up front and survive the road swing between Death Valley, Bryant-Denny, Williams-Brice, and Norman, the Aggies can once again put themselves right back in the title picture. To the talk of the town, when you spend like LSU, you're expected to play like LSU, and in Baton Rouge, that bar is 2019. The roster is built for it. Blake Baker's defense returns 4 starters, an aggressive get-after-you offense, a veteran quarterback with elite portal receivers on the edge. Just a matter of how quick the dots connect under Kiffin. Get out of Oxford with a win in September, take care of the home stretch, and we'll be saying LSU again in December.
And who's to say Alabama couldn't make a return? The reality is the SEC could have multiple teams in contention once again. Last year, 5 made the cut with a scramble of teams at 6-2 and 7-1. But with that 9-game SEC schedule on the way, the question becomes this: how does the committee judge a jumble of 9-3 teams when this league owns some of the hardest schedules in the country?
A new season comes with changes, and in 2026, several big programs have a new man in charge. 6 total. Lane Kiffin takes over at LSU after one of the biggest and most controversial moves the conference has ever seen. Pete Golding had the Rebels 1 win away from playing for the national championship, and he is back to lead Ole Miss in his first full season. John Summerall takes the reins in Gainesville. Alex Galesh is the new head coach at Auburn. In Lexington, Mark Stoops is out, Will Stein is in. And Ryan Silverfield took the head coaching job at Arkansas after a successful run at Memphis. Thanks for spending your 2026 SEC Media Days with us. We have covered everything from the hottest topics to the coaches on the hot seat and everything in between. And come this fall, all of our Gray media stations will have you covered to see your favorite teams in action. But for now, this has been your Media Days Craze. I'm Bailey Burmaster. Have a great night.